Hey guys, thank you for joining me again. This is our third lesson on tapping technique. Now, if you are coming to this via YouTube for the first time, check the description and you're going to see a link to the article on No Treble, and that has a lot of the notation and the tablature and some text just to help you on your way, so you can use that in conjunction with this video. Now, today, we're sort of wrapping up our focus on rhythmic independence, okay? In particular, we're going to focus on rhythmic displacement of melodies. And we're going to get there at some point in the lesson, and you'll see where we're coming from with that. Now, everything that I'm doing today, you could do on your 4-string bass. I have my 6-string Ken Smith here, but this pandemic has been crazy, so I haven't, in weird ways, so right now I don't have my 4 strings with me, or else I'd do that for you. So you're going to have to see me here with the 6-string and work this stuff out on the 4-string, which it's all written for, which you'll see. So 2-hand tapping on the electric bass can be used in a multitude of ways, and so, there's people doing all kinds of crazy, really cool stuff in using that technique that I haven't even begun to take a look at. But one way that it really appeals to me is that it can be used to create improvisations in the upper register with the right hand while playing a bass line in the left hand, okay? Now, that's a right-centric perspective, so if any of you guys are left-handed, obviously you have to reverse those two. One of the best ways to hone this skill is to play short ostinatos in the left hand while slowly increasing the complexity of improvisations in the right hand. Now, a really great way to start, working on this is to take a repetitive 1-bar bass line that's literally like a walking bass line, which outlines the pulse in a very literal way. This is a jazz swing, okay? Rather than having a lot of syncopation at first in the ostinato part. And we can leave the syncopation and all that fun stuff to our right hand. Okay, so the pattern we're going to start with in Figure 1 is like this. Okay, so all the fret numbers are written on the page, the string, everything that you need. This works on a C minor 9 chord. Okay, and what I want you to do at first is just get comfortable with tapping that pattern, and then eventually be able to count out loud while you're doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, we got to do something with our right hand. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is, now that you can play that first part, we're going to develop our rhythmic abilities first in our right hand, rather than adding a whole pile of notes. So if the bar is divided into 8th note subdivisions, right, that means you get 8 different positions in a measure of music where a note can happen. It can happen on the 1, the and a 1, the 2, the and a 2, the 3, the and a 3, and the 4, and then the and of 4, okay? And what we want to do is cultivate the ability to play a note while playing the ostinato in any of those rhythmic locations. And I think it's almost a prerequisite in order to move forward with this, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to cycle through these placements, and you're going to see them in Figure 2, okay? So the first one is just on the 1. We're going to play a C, which is on the 17th fret. We're going to tap that with our 3rd finger of our right hand, okay? Once again, those directions are in the notation. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This lonely C right there. And when we get comfortable with that and we can count to it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We shift it. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing. Feel it at first. And if you need to, you can do all this stuff without the left hand first and just count and get those placements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. So eventually you do all of them. So you can put on 3. Oh, that was 4, sorry. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Put it on the 4, on the and of 4. And once you're really comfortable with that, and it doesn't really, you could do it consistently, then I think it's time to move forward and have a little bit of melodic motion. And the way we're going to get there is first figure out some notes that we can use. So we're going to take a very common scale. Probably a lot of you know it, and that is the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so this will be the C minor pentatonic scale, which is going to be C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C, which is your 1 flat 3 4 5 flat 7 1 B da 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 da. Okay, so those are those notes. And the first thing is get comfortable with tapping them with the right hand. And that includes ascending them, descending, okay? Getting familiar with the pitches. You can sing those pitches. That's all part of ear training. You can say the degrees of, say, 1 flat 3 4 5 flat 7 1. Once you got that, you sort of have some material to be working with, and we can add some motion. So the simplest way to get motion is instead of one note, you have 2 notes. So we're going to take just a pair of eighth notes, 1 and 2, 3, 4. And if you look in figure 4, it's C and B flat, which is the 1 and the flat 7. Let me just make sure I'm recording. I am definitely recording, so that's all good. So you're going to take the 1 and then the flat 7, okay? The simplest unit that we can that starts to have motion, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then we can shift that. Ba-dum. Boom. 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay, and I didn't write out all the shifts. So part of this is you got to figure out where those shifts are. And you can write it out, get yourself some staff paper, and sort of do that work, and it'll pay off sometimes a lot more than simply reading it off the page. Is if you have to think about it, write it out, conceptualize it in your head. So all of this stuff. So now that we've sort of done that, we can make things more complex. Okay, so in figure 5, you're going to see a passage that uses 3 notes. So, and it uses 1 5 flat 7 C G B flat ba ba 4 ba do wa 3 4. Okay, and you just do the same work. So nothing really changes. Just ba 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 ba. Then do the shift. Ba, ba. So now it's on the and of 1. On the 2, 1 2 ba, ba, ba. And the 2, 1 2 ba, ba. 1 2 ba, ba. On the 3, 1 2 3. Okay, and you can go to 4 notes. Choose whatever notes you want. On the 3, 1 2 3. Okay, that one's not written out. You could do 5 notes, all this stuff. But the next thing to get it interesting and present another challenge is going to be adding a rest there. So, in figure 6, you can see how we take 4 notes, which happen to be the 1 4 5 flat 7 ba boo ba, but we add a rest after the first note, an 8th note rest. Ba boo boo bee, ba boo boo ba. So that's on the 1, but it can shift. 1 2 3 4 1 ba 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 boo ba 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 boo ba. Okay, on the 2, all these things. And so this is where you got to say, if you're struggling a bit, you start staying on this kind of place for a while. Keep trying different patterns. Keep throwing in more rests. You could work on something that is a measure long or 2 measures, a riff. Maybe it's a riff that you play a lot, and you're just sort of doing that work of seeing what happens when you shift it and figuring out all those possibilities. So I guess I should do those shifts for you. So 1, 2 in figure 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now on the 2. Now on the and of 2. Now on the 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Now on the 4. Now on the and of 4. Start breaking into that point where you're starting to create music with it. And that leads us to the final thing in this lesson, which is, of course, taking this concept further. And that is just once you've, worked out some of these possibilities, it's almost, that really tough kind of thinking work that you can't skip that. You got to sort of do that first. And then eventually you'll get to a point where you can be like, okay, let's try improvising a bit. So the same thing, you have that ostinato bass line, continuous in left hand, but then you can use notes from the C minor pentatonic scale, septatonic scales like Dorian, which is one of the modes, or chromatic possibilities, anything from your knowledge base that has to do with improvisation, and try to make that happen in your right hand while continuing. And that's kind of where it goes from. And it happens with time. So anyways, happy practicing, good luck, and have fun.